Today I'm going to tell you how the main version of Spider-Man died. Dan Slott was writing The Amazing Spider-Man, and it slowly built up to a version of Doc Ock that was dying. His body was failing and simply passing away, so he came up with one final plan to beat Spider-Man and save his own butt. This story takes place over Amazing Spider-Man 698 to issue 700, and is known for dividing the Spider-Man fandom when it came out, even leading to death threats being sent to Dan Slott. Personally, I loved it and the run that came out of this, but let me tell you the story, then we can come back to that. This is Comicstorian, and I find comic book storylines to tell you what's happening in them, and then I give you an audio drama. This is to allow you to know what's happening in the world of comics and get you all caught up. We help you find the books you want to add to your collection at the local comic book store. Now let's start the story with Amazing Spider-Man 698. The alarms on the raft continue to sound, with the heavily armed guards rushing through the prison, making sure that all of the supervillains are locked down. They finally arrive at Doc Ock's cell, where they find two doctors staring down at the iron lung that is keeping the villain alive. What'd he do? The captain of the guards asks. And both doctors are shocked, explaining that after weeks of no mental activity, Otto Octavius has just begun to speak. While a little ridiculous, all of the guards immediately raise their weapons as Otto begins to mumble, remembering that he nearly took over the entire city with his mind not too long ago. Captain finally leans in to hear Otto Octavius' faint words. "Peter Parker," he gasps. Out in the city, Spider-Man is swinging across the cityscape, enjoying being Spider-Man for once. He turns his head as he hears someone calling for help. He lands on the street below to find a supervillain robbing a bank in broad daylight. "Stay where you are, or I, Destructor, will fry you where you stand," the villain shouts. Spider-Man looks at him for a moment. My God, who talks like that? He begins to wonder out loud as he flips across the ground, punching Destructor in the face. He knocks him out with one blow. It's only after the police arrive that the officer explains that Destructor has no superpowers, and several crooks have been faking being a supervillain in hope that the police and the civilians won't give them any trouble, believing that they'll be more trouble than they're worth. Spider-Man is shocked by this news, but doesn't apologize for not going easy on Destructor. The officer looks at him. "Well, I want you to come down to the station and file some paperwork." Spider-Man shakes his head, leaping into the sky. "No, I don't think so. I have a life," he calls out as he swings away. He heads to his apartment and he changes, knowing that he has more to do today, especially in his life as Peter Parker. He has decided that it is time to start living, instead of giving up everything to do the thankless job as a superhero. So he gets started. After changing into a suit, he heads to Horizon Labs, where he promises his boss that he will have some brilliant ideas for inventions that are going to make them billionaires. After that, he heads to MJ's club, which is now being called the hottest singles club in the entire city, and there he pulls MJ close, telling her how he really feels. "Aren't you tired of all these small steps that we've been taking? We're supposed to be together, Mary Jane. I know it and you know it. So let's do something about it. Let's go somewhere, just the two of us," he tells her. She's a little shocked by his straightforward attitude, but reminds him that they're supposed to go visit Aunt May in the hospital. "We could go together," she tells him, and he agrees, and she smiles, and they get his coat. At the hospital, Aunt May is taking her first steps since the accident. Everyone is happy for her, but Peter's Avengers calling card suddenly begins to beep, letting him know that he is needed at the raft. He makes up an excuse about work and heads to the door. MJ promises to cover up for him, giving him a kiss on the cheek on his way out. As he swings through the city, Peter is still shocked that he is now counted amongst Earth's mightiest heroes, remembering that not too long ago he was considered to be a menace by the city. As he arrives at the raft, he's greeted by Spider-Woman, Captain America, Wolverine, and Hawkeye. "What's going on? Another breakout?" he asks as he walks up to the team. But Cap shakes his head. "No, we thought you should know. One of your old enemies, he's dying. It won't be long now," Cap tells him, and he puts a hand on Spidey's shoulder. "He's asking for you. He's asking for Peter Parker," Cap says. Spider-Man stares at him for a moment before sighing. "Take me to him." The superheroes all head through the prison until they reach Ock's cell. Spidey looks back at them and asks for a moment of privacy with one of his oldest villains. He walks into the room and stares down at the dying Otto Octavius. "All right, we're alone. This is what you wanted, right? You had something to say to me?" Otto looks up at him and his eyes widen. "Peter Parker," he gasps. And Spidey removes his mask. "Yes, I'm Peter Parker." But Otto barely shakes his head. "No, I'm Peter Parker," he gasps. Peter smiles, leaning forward, getting very close to his dying enemy. "Not anymore, Spider-Man. From now on, I'm Peter Parker. I have all of your memories. I know everything that you knew. I have your life and everything that comes with it, and now you are Otto Octavius. With what little time you have left, trapped in that broken body, brought by years of your brutal beatings. And like a magician, I shall not reveal my secrets. You will die, never knowing how I performed my last and greatest trick," Spidey says, smiling a wicked smile after having defeated his arch nemesis in the end. Otto's eyes roll back into his head as he begins to flatline, and the doctors rush forward into the room, pushing Spider-Man aside as they try to save the villain. Walking back out, Cap puts his hands on Spidey's shoulder. "Are you gonna be alright?" Spider-Man nods. "Honestly, I'm not gonna spare a second's thought. I've got better things to do with the rest of my life." Inside the cell, the doctors are working to bring Otto back from the dead, arguing over whether they should just leave him to die. "We've all taken an oath to save everyone, no matter who," one of them shouts, and after a few harrowing moments, Otto is brought back and the doctors leave the cell, with one of them spitting on him as she walks by. Left alone, Peter realizes the situation. His mind is trapped in the dying body of Otto Octavius. He only has a short amount of time left to live, and he's trapped on the raft, surrounded by guards who want nothing more than for him to die. The supervillains would crush him if they learned the truth. The worst fact is that the real Otto Octavius is out there. He is mind-controlling Peter Parker's body. God knows what Spider-Man is. Peter has imagined Otto using his body to kill the Avengers, take advantage of Mary Jane, and poison his Aunt May. Peter knows that he has to do something, remembering that Otto told him that he had access to all of Peter's memories. So Peter begins to delve through the memories of Otto's past. Being trapped in Otto's body, he can see Otto's traumatic childhood, his origins as Doc Ock, and his battles with Spider-Man. He sees Otto getting the diagnosis that he's going to die. He sees Otto creating the helmet that would allow him to map Peter's mind. And then he sees the Octobot that would allow him to rewrite Peter's mind to become Otto Octavius. Peter's eyes widen as he realizes that this is his chance. He knows that Otto would control the Octobots with his mind. So he reaches out with what strength he has left in this broken body, connecting to the golden Octobot that was left in the city. It comes to life standing up, swaying as Peter gains control of it. Peter sends the Octobot careening through the city until he finds an open window and crawls through, pushing past the office workers to use one of their computers. "Excuse me, tiny bot coming through," he calls through the bot's speakers. "Sorry, having a hard time accessing this bot's Wi-Fi features," he says as he plugs into the computer and sends out a message to all of Otto's supervillain contacts, asking them to aid him for a large chunk of money. With this done, the Octobot collapses. And that's it. My little Octobot's given out. That was my one shot. Nothing left to do but wait and see if it pays off. Peter thinks to himself. Time passes as he is trapped in Otto's dying body, gasping as he feels one of his organs fail, and a tear falls from his eyes. "Whatever I've done, I'm sorry. Please help me," he gasps into the quiet darkness of his room. In the raft, a strange noise can be heard in the kitchens, and the workers look to the sink as water suddenly begins to spill out, taking the form of Hydro Man. "I'm in. What's next?" he asks over the radio, quickly pulling the wire that he is carrying through the pipes, setting it up to create a teleport tunnel that Scorpion comes charging through, quickly followed by Trapster. "Run the clock! Let's get Oct and get out of here!" Trapster shouts. Peter is shocked by what's happening as the raft shakes. He hadn't planned on the villains assaulting the prison. The wall explodes and Trapster steps through. "Hey, Doc, don't think we've ever met. My name's Peter Petruski. They call me the Trapster." He leans over Otto's body, unaware that it is actually Spider-Man trapped inside. The villain pulls him out of the iron lung, hooking Otto's body up to the portable life support system that he created. The villains then pull Otto out of the prison with several other supervillains calling to their old comrade for help. "Let them rot. We're not freeing anyone." Peter gasps through Otto's mouth as Trapster thinks that they are creating a new Sinister Six. The 4 villains finally step back through Trapster's teleporter, arriving at one of Doc Ock's old secret lairs. "When do we get paid?" Scorpion demands. Peter, in Otto's body, struggles to look up. "There's one more thing." And Hydro-Man nods. "Right, we gotta catch Spider-Man, dead or alive." But Peter, again in Otto's body, shakes his head to the villains. "Alive. I definitely need him alive." Meanwhile, at Peter Parker's old apartment, Otto Octavius is trying his best to woo Mary Jane, but their date is interrupted as he gets an alert of Peter's escape from the raft. Otto leans over the computer, reading the alert. "Impossible! He's crippled, dying! How on earth did he manage that?" Otto snaps, and Mary Jane finishes reading, telling Otto to go, that their date can wait, and that she understands that he has to hunt down Dr. Octopus. Otto nods his head. "You're right." And a short time later, he arrives at the airport buying a round-trip ticket to Belgium, in which he will be returning tomorrow. Tomorrow? But sir, you'll spend most of your time in the air. The ticket agent tells him, and Otto nods. Yes, about 15 hours. For some people, that's a lifetime. Back at the secret base, Trapster is hooking up Peter, who's still in the broken body of Otto, into his spare octopus armor, promising that he has made all the calculations correctly and it won't kill the dying supervillain. Trapster hits the button to activate the machine, and Peter screams in pain as electricity is ripping through his body until he sags. "Is he supposed to do that?" Scorpion asks. Yeah, I think so," Trapster says quietly. But Peter can't hear them anymore. His vision is clouded by a bright light. The light dims, and he finds himself on his street in Queens, surrounded by people that he has known his whole life. People that cared about him, but were taken out too early. He sees Silver Sable, Captain and Gwen Stacy, his parents, and finally Uncle Ben. The wind blows through the street, and those that Peter remembers disappear. It's just Peter and Uncle Ben now. "All right, Peter, I hate to say this, but you have to go. You can't stay here." Tears well up in Peter's eyes. I don't get to? After all it's that one mistake, isn't it? When I let you down. But I've tried, Uncle Ben. I've tried so hard. Uncle Ben shakes his head and he pulls Peter in close. "That's not it at all, boy. You've more than earned your rest, and any other time I'd give you my blessing. But you can't leave a man like Otto Octavius running around as Spider-Man or as Peter Parker. You built such an amazing life. Don't you dare let him destroy it." He pulls Peter's mask back on, making him Spider-Man once again. "I won't, Uncle Ben," he says. Peter snaps back to life, seeing the concerned faces of Scorpion, Trapster, and Hydro-Man looking at him. "See? Nothing to worry about, he's still breathing." Technically, he was dead for 3 minutes, Trapster reminds his friends. Peter raises his new arms, putting a lab coat over his dying body. "There's not a moment to waste. We have work to do," he shouts, and the trio ask their new boss his plan, and he smiles. "We go straight to the authorities." Meanwhile, Otto Octavius, still in Peter's body, is standing in the airport, watching as Mayor Jameson gives an interview about Otto's escape, pointing out that the city shouldn't worry because Otto always fails in his plans. "I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. His entire time on Earth, Otto's only been one thing, a loser!" Jameson shouts, and the words echo throughout Otto's mind as he turns away from the plane, leaving the airport. Back in the city, Peter has used his villains to break into the 18th precinct, ordering them not to kill anyone, that his vengeance is reserved for Spider-Man alone. While his trio of henchmen are dealing with the cops, Peter slips into the evidence lockup, finding one of the gold Octobots that Doc Ock used. He turns to leave only to find Carly Cooper aiming a pistol at his head. He holds up his hands. "Carly, wait, I can explain. I'm not Doc Ock. I'm Spider-Man. He used a device to swap our brains." Peter tries to tell her, but Carly doesn't believe him and opens fire, the rounds ricocheting off of Doc Ock's arms, hitting her on the shoulder, dropping her to the ground. Peter checks on her to make sure that she's okay, and then he heads back out. "I got what we're after. Let's go," he orders to the crew. Elsewhere in the city, Spider-Man is starting to gather all of Peter's closest friends and family, telling them that he believes that Doc Ock will try to use them against him and that he needs to keep them safe. Gathering them into a secure room in the Avengers Tower while he works on a plan to defeat Octavius for the last time. Meanwhile, back at the secret base, Peter is trying to finish the device that will allow him to transfer his mind back, but one of the screens suddenly lights up to reveal Spider-Man. "Greetings, Otto!" Spider-Man shouts. But Peter is shocked, realizing that Otto just figured out where he was. "How did you locate your secret base and break into your comm system? Think about it." Spider-Man glares at him. "This time, Otto, you won't be able to threaten any of my loved ones because they're all right here with me, and there's no way you're going to find them." Spider-Man taunts Peter. He also warns him that he has revealed the layer's location to the authorities and they should be arriving now. Peter looks at him in shock. "What? I've got supervillains with me. Officers could get killed." Peter gasps and Spider-Man nods. "I guess I'm playing by a whole new set of rules. Good luck," he calls before signing off. Above them, Scorpion and Hydra Man have already met the police in combat, hitting them hard and fast. Below, Peter has finished his device, but Trapster has figured out that it is a brain-swapping device. "You're dying and building a brain-swapping device? What's your plan? Put your brain into my body? No, wait, Doc," Trapster shouts. Almost figuring out the plan, Peter sighs, slamming him into the wall, trapping him there with Trapster's old glue guns. "So close, but no cigar," he tells him. He takes one of Doc Ock's old subs and picks up Scorpion and Hydra Man before they can kill anyone. "Hold on, where's Trapster?" Scorpion asks as the sub sinks beneath the surface of the bay. "Captured. Doesn't matter, he was slowing us down. We're better off without him," Peter tells them. The trio takes the sub through the sewers, arriving at a mysterious elevator that takes them up into the Avengers Tower. "Doc, are you insane? You just broke us into Avengers Tower." Peter continues forward. "Calm yourself. It's all a part of my plan. I know what I'm doing," he tells the others, struggling through his broken and dying body. But they are stopped by the sound of Spider-Man, and the villains look up to find the wall crawler sticking to a group of monitors. "Very clever, Octavius. Activating all of your hidden giant Octobots around the globe and drawing all of my fellow Avengers away so that you would have me all to yourself. Makes me wonder what else you have in store for me." Peter again has been beaten by Octavius. "Get him! Whatever it takes!" he shouts to the goons. Scorpion and Hydra Man rush forward, but Spider-Man leaps around their attacks, activating the Avengers Tower defense systems. He flips through the air to confront Peter face to face in his old body. "Can't let you win!" Peter gasps as he tries to attack his old body, and Spider-Man continues to gloat. "What's that? Otto? Whatever you do, I'll never reveal where I've hidden Jameson and his family. Here in the tower," Spider-Man says, as Scorpion looks up as Jameson's name has been said and he charges off to kill him. Hydra Man and Scorpion find the chamber where Otto hid everyone, and Hydra Man slips inside, but the scientists from Horizon Labs have created a machine to suck him up and neutralize him. But the wall explodes as Scorpion forces his way inside, rushing towards Jameson, who ordered Robbie to get his family out. "You blame me for turning you into a freak, don't you, Scorpion? Well, be a man, damn it! Take it out on me!" Jameson shouts, but Scorpion rushes forward, promising that he's going to take his anger out on Jameson's father or Aunt May. But Spider-Man leaps into the room. "No! You will not harm that sweet lady!" he shouts, kicking Scorpion in the jaw, knocking him away. Memories beginning to flood through Otto Octavius' mind of Peter's childhood, of growing up in Aunt May's house. What the hell was that? Spider-Man gasps, ducking under another of Scorpion's attacks and coming up fast, punching him hard enough in the jaw to break it free. "Enough of this! I said enough!" he bellows, and everyone looks up in shock as Scorpion falls to the floor, his lower jaw gone. "I knew you had it in you, kid!" Jameson shouts, giving him the thumbs up. But Otto's arms wrap around Spider-Man, pulling him up. "What have you done? I swear if you've used my hands to take a life..." Peter gasps, but Spider-Man uses the time that Otto has left to shoot out more webbing, taking out Peter's friends as they try to run. Peter gasps as he sees his friends falling to the ground at his own hands. "Look at you, losing your grip!" Spider-Man laughs as he begins to pull himself free. "You never had the stomach for this game, where I, on the other hand," he continues, but Peter whirls back on him. "Would go to any length, and I can't allow that! Not with my body!" He tightens his hold on Spider-Man, careening towards the window, smashing through it, plummeting them both to the earth below. "What are you doing?" Spider-Man shouts as he struggles to release himself. "I thought about it. I have seconds to live." "Bye, Otto." Peter gasps, but Spider-Man twists, firing enough webbing to create a cushion that they both slam into. And there they both lay on the ground, barely moving. A golden Octobot crawling up Spider-Man's back, attempting to stab into his neck. But the back of the suit is hardened. What? Peter gasps, and Spider-Man shrugs off the Octobot. Carbonadium plating. My cranium is completely shielded. In other words, victory is mine, Spider-Man says to him. Peter struggles to his feet with only moments to live, but Spider-Man punches him and his neck twists around as he slams into the ground. He tries to struggle up. This can't be. There has to be another way. It hurts. Can't even focus enough to use the arms. Gotta fight this. I have to think. Peter in Otto's dead body gasps as he falls to the ground. He manages to roll over, and he looks up to see Spider-Man preparing to drop a car on him. There's a bright light before him, and he sees Uncle Ben's smiling face. He tells him to get up for school. Spider-Man suddenly staggers, seeing the same memories of Uncle Ben. What are you doing to me? He gasps, dropping the car, and that's when Peter realizes that there is a link between their two minds. This is my life now! Spider-Man shouts, and Peter barely nods. Exactly. And it's all flashing before my eyes. Spider-Man staggers again as a wave of memories flood through him, as he's being taken in by Aunt May and Uncle Ben, being bitten by the spider that gave him powers, the choice that Peter made that led to Uncle Ben dying, and Peter's vow to become Spider-Man. Stop it, I don't want any of this! Otto shouts while still in Spider-Man's body. You wanted to be Spider-Man? Well, guess what? It's more than the powers. Peter gasps. Otto sinks to his knees, the memories of Peter's life still flooding into his mind, the memories of Peter's failures and those that he couldn't save. Please, no more. It's too much. I can't go on. But Peter crawls over to him. The final moments in the body that he is trapped in, his final tomb. Yes, you can. You'd be surprised how much you can do. How many things are worth fighting for. It's who we are. Otto moves forward, cradling the dying Peter in his arms. I don't want this. Too late. Careful what you wish for, Spidey. Peter gasps as he feels the end arriving. Tell me, how can I do this? Otto asks one last time in Spider-Man's body. Because you have to. Because with great power must also come great responsibility. Spider-Man finishes. Otto Octavius' final plan is enacted as Peter dies in his arms in his old body. But Otto Octavius has changed. He promises to keep Spider-Man's family safe, to protect the people of New York. He stands looking up at the rising sun, promising Peter that he will be Spider-Man. I will be a better Spider-Man than you ever were. From this day forward, I shall become the superior Spider-Man! And that concludes the story of the death of Peter Parker. If you're reading current comics, you know that Peter did eventually come back. But if you want to know the storyline, it goes into one of my favorite runs of Spider-Man, the original Superior Spider-Man run. We've covered it briefly here on the channel, but I never really deep dived into it, and I thought it might be fun to cover it with Across the Spider-Verse coming up. But, you know, I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you want more of this classic period in Spider-Man's life covered here on the channel? If you do, give this video a like, hit subscribe, and make sure you turn on that notification bell. As it turns out, the reason why a lot of you are unaware that we're still uploading is you don't have the bell turned on. Apparently only 200,000 of you do out of the 2.9 million subscribers we have, which means only 200,000 of you get these subscriptions. So if you want to know the videos that we put out, which are daily, please consider that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you next time right here.